An explosive report alleging a cover-up of Catholic priest sex abuses dating back decades. A grand jury in Pennsylvania just issued its report. It found evidence of more than 300 predator priests, all accused of sexually abusing more than 1,000 child victims. And that's just the witnesses who came forward. CNN's Gene Casares joins me now. And Gene, the Catholic Church has anticipated this report for weeks. Now that it's out, the details are incredibly disturbing.
Absolutely amazing. You know, Jake, grand jurors say that the pattern by the clergy was pretty much the same. The philosophy was not to help children, but to avoid scandal. Grand jurors say in the report that, quote, avoiding scandal appears over and over again in the documents that were recovered. And they reviewed over 500,000 internal church documents. This 884-page report took 2 years. It was written by 23 Pennsylvania grand jurors who listened to testimony from dozens of witnesses and listened to those documents and read them, alleging child sex abuse in 6 dioceses in Pennsylvania. Credible allegations were found, as you say, against more than 300 priests. More than 1,000 child victims were identifiable, but it is truly believed that the numbers are in the thousands of victims. Most of the victims were boys, but girls were also victims. Some were teens, some were much younger. Some victims were manipulated with alcohol or pornography. The abuse is far too graphic to describe in detail, but here's just one example. A priest sexually assaulted a little girl as he was visiting her in the hospital after she had her tonsils out. Grand jurors found that church leaders in every part of the state preferred to protect the abusers and their institutions above all.
They wanted to cover up the cover-up. They sought to do the same thing that senior church leaders in the diocese we investigated have done for decades: bury the sexual abuse by priests upon children and cover it up forever.
And Jake, the report also describes a priest who quit after being the subject of many child abuse complaints, but he asked for and received, according to this report, a letter of recommendation for work at Disneyland.
And Gene, since so many of these cases are old and cannot be prosecuted, is anyone from the Catholic Church in Pennsylvania taking responsibility?
Well, actually, the grand jury has 2 presentments, as they call them in Pennsylvania, for 2 priests that are within the statute of limitations. But the grand jurors say they want to change laws because there were victims in their 80s that remember being sexually assaulted, and that's just too long ago for these priests, if they even would be alive, to be prosecuted.
All right, Gene Casares, thanks so much.